Hello, I'm Anthony David Hobbs, and it's my birthday today. Okay, but anyway, the thing I'm really want to talk about is Terminator 3, because I said I'd do a review on that movie. And Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines was released in 2003, and I saw it in the cinema 3 times. So yes, big Terminator fan. And of course, I was too young to see the previous two films in the cinema, but yes, I was old enough to see this one. Anyway, what can I say about Terminator 3? Well, I remember it got a lot of criticism when it first came out, saying it's not as good as the first or second one. And I agree, it is not as good as Terminator 1 or Terminator 2, but it's still pretty darn good. It's still good. It's not better, but it's good enough. It is a worthy sequel. It does expand the story and everything. And I suppose, yes, I must bring it up. If you thought the chase sequences in Terminator 2 were good, you must see the chase sequence in Terminator 3. This, Arnold Schwarzenegger holding on to the end of a crane, and that he's smashed through this giant window of this massive building, and the building's falling down as it goes through and everything, and he still holds on for dear life. He won't let go. So it's that great determination on a massive new scale, And apparently the movie was on a huge budget. They had to build that whole building, just for that scene, that spectacular sequence. So yes, it's on a bigger scale. It's bigger and better and everything. In this one, the Terminatrix is like the big villain. Terminatrix, or TX for short. And oh yes, I suppose I better say, years ago there was a lady I quite fancied, and I said, if looks could kill, you'd be the Terminatrix. Because the Terminatrix always appears in the form of a beautiful woman. She didn't quite understand the compliment, so I had to explain it to her. But anyway, that's back to the point. The point is, the Terminatrix creates Skynet, the Skynet computer. So she effectively creates her creator. And so the creator created her, but then she creates it. So who came first? Who was created first, the creation or the creator? Well, because she goes backwards in time before Skynet even existed, create him, and then he creates her. So who came first, the creation or the creator? Well, the simple answer is neither. Neither came first. It's what you call a symbiont circle, an Ouroboros circle, where there's no beginning and no end. Yeah, she goes backwards in time, creates Skynet, so that in the future he can create her. And there's some Terminator fans saying, wait, that's not quite right. The TX technically does not create Skynet, no. The Skynet computer was already created by the American military in the story, but she corrupts Skynet. She doesn't create it, she corrupts it and makes it so that, it turns against the humans. And so yeah, we get it. It's never clearly specified why Skynet computer went wrong, but it is now for the first time. So yeah, we see some things we haven't seen before. And the T-101, because of course we have to have Arnold Schwarzenegger, his mission is to protect John Connor and Catherine Brewster. Yes, his mission is made very clear. He must protect John Connor and Catherine Brewster. And if you've seen Terminator 1 and 2, there's never been a mention of Catherine Brewster before. She's a new character in Terminator 3. And I think that's good. That's a good thing, because the character of Catherine Brewster has never seen a Terminator before, so she's terrified when she sees him for the first time. And the target audience of Terminator 3 is fans of the first two films, and people who've never seen it before. It's a bit presumptuous to assume everyone's seen the other films. So yes, you can enjoy it even if you haven't seen a Terminator film before. I suppose it's a bit better if you see them in the right order, but no, Terminator 3 is a good movie in itself, yeah. And, okay, there's going to be some spoilers now. I'm going to reveal that the ending. Basically, the first time I saw it in the cinema, I saw it 3 times, yeah, anyway, Terminator 3 times. Anyway, the first time I saw it, the ending is, Judgment Day happens. The nuclear weapons are launched, and billions of human lives are destroyed. And I remember thinking, no, hold up, that's not right. You can't do that. I thought they were going to stop Judgment Day. I thought that was the mission. That was the, And I had mixed feelings. I didn't know if that was a good idea or not. But then afterwards, I thought, well, think about it. If they stopped Judgment Day, that would just be a repetition of what happened in the second one. So I suppose in a way that's good. It's good that happened. And also, the blooper I brought up in a previous review, about Terminator 2. How could John Connor exist if the war never started? Well, effectively, that blooper is properly answered in Terminator 3 because when John Connor sees the T-101, he says, no, you shouldn't even exist. We stopped Judgment Day. It's been stopped. So how could you possibly exist? We stopped Judgment Day. You only postponed it, says the T-101. It will happen, just at a later date. Your plan to stop Judgment Day didn't quite work out in the way you thought it would. So that raises an interesting issue, yes. If you attempted to stop something happening in the future, just how sure do you need to be? Would you stop it happening at the prescribed time, or would it just happen another time? Would somebody else have built Skynet instead? So, yeah. And, okay, it's criticism time. I'm going to say a bit of criticism. It is a great movie, don't get me wrong, but there's just this little problem. John Connor, the character of John Connor, he's grown into a young man by Terminator 3. As I just said before, he is astonished that the Terminators can even exist, because he thinks they can't exist, because I stopped Judgment Day happening, so they can't possibly exist. But wait a minute, if he thinks Judgment Day is never going to happen, why then does he live off the grid? Why does he do jobs that are just cash in hand, so that there's no records and no one can track him down? If he's so sure that he's not in danger anymore, why does he live like that, I don't know, maybe somewhere in the back of his mind he thinks that Terminators might still exist. So he never stays in the same place, he's always travelling from place to place. But then this raises another problem. If, in the back of his mind, he thinks Terminators could possibly come for him, why then, at the beginning of the film, does he go to Los Angeles? In the first two films, the Terminators travel back in time to Los Angeles, because that's the only clue they have, the only location they know where to go to kill their targets. So you would have thought John Connor would avoid Los Angeles like the plague, never go anywhere near it, But no, at the beginning of the film, he's in Los Angeles. I don't know, maybe he was on his way to somewhere else and ended up there by mistake. I don't know, yes. But in spite of a few little flaws, it is a very great movie. The special effects are stunning as always, yes. Well, I suppose you'd have to, wouldn't you? Because the special effects in the second one were so good. That's people's expectations are going to be like that. And the TX, the Terminatrix, yeah, her mission, well, she has several missions really. To kill John Connor, his second in command, and to kill his lieutenants, or they will be his lieutenants in the future, to corrupt the Skynet computer, and she has the power to control machines, yes. And, oh yes, the bit when John Connor wants to destroy what he calls the system core, so destroy the main Skynet computer, so when it is destroyed, all these machines it controls will stop, will not work. But he's wrong. The Skynet is a virus, and every single machine it controls has the Skynet virus in it. So even if you did destroy the Skynet computer, that's no good, because all these machines would still be moving independently. They're all part of one big consciousness. They each have the virus in it. So the only way you can win, in addition to destroying Skynet, you have to destroy every single individual one of his robots. So yes, but he doesn't realise that until the very end of the movie. Yes, so that's, yeah. But, and another clever twist was Catherine Brewster knew that. At first she starts out as this ignorant, helpless person, but as the story progresses she actually knows more than John Connor does. And she takes him to this underground bunker. She lies to him and tells him it's a Skynet computer, but takes him there, and they're underground then to survive the nuclear blast. And John Connor's like, what's going on? Why did you lie to me? Why did you tell me this is the Skynet computer? I want to blow it up. And Catherine says, even if you did, it wouldn't make any difference, because you have to kill every single individual one. This Skynet virus is everywhere, not just inside the robots. It's inside televisions, inside computer networks, inside the internet, because all these machines are connected together. When you think about it, just how many machines people have worldwide, if they got infected by the Skynet virus, we'd all be helpless. Yeah. So yes, the worst nightmare happens, and John Connor sums it up by saying, my destiny is not to stop Judgment Day, it's to survive it. Yeah. And he's disappointed that he couldn't stop it. You know, he didn't want this to happen. I don't think anyone would want that to happen, yeah. But he has to accept his responsibility after trying to avoid it. And, oh yeah, something else I'll say about the Terminatrix. I assumed it would be like the T-1000, you know, the morphing liquid metal thing to form other shapes. I was half right in thinking that. The TX is actually a solid metal robot on the inside. But on the outside she has liquid metal. So her entire body isn't liquid metal, no, just the skin. And that's it. And her hands can form, yes, one of her hands can form like a flame-throwing device. Another one can form like a spinning blade, you know. That's something the T-1000 couldn't do. He couldn't form weapons that require moving parts. He could only form spikes and knives. But she's one step ahead. Yeah, she's tough. And yes, there is a great fight sequence between the TX and the T-101 in the toilets, where they're beating the hell out of it, picking toilets and smashing each other, bashing through walls and stuff. And we see that's how tough the TX is. Yeah, I mean, you thought, could they possibly surpass the T-1000? Well, yes, they did. She smashes everything in sight. She's a badass bitch. Yeah, she's really... She looks like a beautiful, dainty woman, but she is tough. She's virtually indestructible, yeah. And, so yes, Terminator 3, very enjoyable machine, yes, and it's a good backstory. It explains the rise of the machines, how they came to power and all that. Okay, just one last bit of criticism. Catchphrases. If there's one thing Arnold Schwarzenegger is known for, it's catchphrases. In the first one, it was, "I'll be back." The second one is, "Hasta la vista, baby." In this one, we don't really have a unique catchphrase. We just have two phrases that are a pun on a previous catchphrase. When they haven't destroyed the TX, but they've knocked her down an elevator shaft, the T-101 knows that won't kill her. It'll hurt her, but it won't kill her. And he simply says, "She'll be back." So obviously a pun on "I'll be back." And then again, later on, he says, "I'm back." So, yes, the whole audience got it. That was, yeah, it was a pun on "I'll be back." He says "I'm back," though, for two reasons. Because he's come to rejoin the people he's protecting. The second reason he says "I'm back" is because he's been corrupted by the Skynet virus, but he managed to reroute his system to fight it. So in other words, he wasn't behaving like himself. Then he started behaving like himself again. "I'm back." As in, I'm back to normal. Yes. So he says, "I'm back." And Sarah Connor was not in this one. In the story, she was killed off. She died in the late 90s in the story. And Linda Hamilton was offered the chance to reprise her role as Sarah Connor, defending John Connor, her son. But she declined. She simply said, "If I do that, it'll just be a repetition of what I did in the second one." So instead, yes, they change it a bit. It's two people and a Terminator, but instead it's Catherine Brewster instead of John Connor's mother. Which is fair enough, because I think in any sequel, the danger a lot of sequels do is making it too similar to a previous sequel. So we want to see things we're familiar with, yes, but don't make it too similar. It's got to be a little different. And I remember, yeah, one of my friends saying Terminator 3 was just like Terminator 2. And I said, well, you could say that, or you could say Terminator 2 was just like the first one, the Terminator. So no, I don't think it matters that it's a chase sequence on the run and stuff. I think Terminator 3 is different enough and similar enough to the previous two films. And little joke here. One of my friends once said to me how he didn't like Terminator 3. It wasn't very good. But then he saw Terminator 4, and then he thought Terminator 3 was really good. Yeah, because it's good compared to the fourth one. But how good or how bad is Terminator 4? Well, we're going to discuss that in the next film. But I'll say this much. I saw Terminator 3 in the cinema 3 times. So yes, I really enjoyed it. It's a great movie to see in the cinema. There's some good laughs, some good bits of humour, and lots of good serious action as well. So, in spite of what others say, Terminator 3 is for me.